So, thank you for joining this 21-day self-love activation. This actually is was inspired through a meditation I was working with and had a challenging period of time during the summer where a lot of things came in and really changed very quickly. And I've seen that happen for a lot of people during these last few months. There's been a lot of trying times coming up, and it's been bringing up, right, for me and those that I'm communicating with, bringing up some of the deeper patterns, some of the things that we really want to let go of, maybe hadn't realized we're still there, and unearthing that because we're in alignment with, and today is the full moon, and we're in an eclipse season. This season is all about, right, clearing up our karmic patterns. So when you look at what a karmic pattern is, it's something, think about your karma as like the chronic, like it's been ongoing. And when we come into spaces like this, they're called full moon, right? Full circle at the full moon, because it says, do I want to continue around this old pattern again? And I can say for myself, once a pattern is revealed, I think that's one of the opportunities to make that change. And as I was meditating on this myself, and the angels started to really show me that self-love needed to be taken deeper into to everyone in life, that we had already gone through a lot in the last few years of self-love becoming part of our awareness, that we knew it was important, but now it's coming to a place that it's time to really do something about the core of why self love shows up on the surface. So when you're looking at things like that, yes, we can say we love ourselves, and we're getting better about, taking care and being mindful. But there's also, when you're talking about loving yourself, is also, and today the focus we're going to start with this morning is learning how to forgive things, how to let ourselves off the hook for places when we weren't what we wanted to be or what we expected of ourselves. Because a lot of the reason why we're not able to move into the next level in our life is because there is a power in carrying unforgiveness. It ties you to the power that regret can have over you, the power that resentment can have over you. And as much as we want to talk about our power, there are things that if we don't resolve them, are unconsciously operating from inside. And when you study things like energy, and you guys have studied Reiki and Theta healing and angels with me, understand that whether we realize it or not, the things that are inside of us that are unresolved, those things are actually consuming energy from you on a daily basis. So that's where it can be, you're wondering why things aren't turning around. And it's because the energy is still going a bit backwards. And that's even part of the eclipse, that it's bringing up things from the past, whether that be yesterday, childhood, if you're a person that starts looking at past life experiences, Akashic records, things like that, you start to see these tendencies that arise inside of you. And it's good to see them. But it's also, when you start seeing them, it's also to figure out, what do I want to do about that? Merely pampering ourselves, which is, I see self-love as becoming kind of this cliche some things, is learning loving myself is that I don't have to be nice to anyone because I love myself too much for this, right? It's starting to create this separation of, like, I love myself too much to deal with all you people and deal with this. And the thing is that's really based on some fear. That's based on maybe not having trust, things like that. And loving yourself is what's going to enable you to deal with everything. Because when you love yourself and you have this ability to forgive, offer yourself compassion, some grace in each moment, isn't it going to be much easier to do that for the world itself? Because, even part of the challenge is I live in a very bubble like world. I work for myself, right? I'm surrounded and in the field of spirituality. So sometimes when I kind of forget a bit about what it's like to be, I honor you guys who are out in the world as part of the way you work, right? You have to interact with people differently, and honoring with compassion that not all individuals are thinking in higher consciousness. They're just doing what they do, right? And sometimes you're part of their sort of their wake zone. And how do we not take those things so personally? And that's where forgiveness is, where we're starting with in this conversation today, is because we really need to learn. And once you can learn forgiveness, you learn more of forgiveness on the spot. And that's the thing that says, you know what, I'm going to give a little grace here because that wasn't intentionally toward me. I've got to learn to let things go. And really, when you say let things go, actually let them go. Because a lot of times, right, we'll sit there and keep thinking about it and festering and holding on, whether it, like I said, whether it be from lunchtime or whether it be from a long time ago. And that's where your energy is getting consumed in things that aren't about love. In Theta Healing, Beyond Stiebel teaches that forgiveness is your ultimate protector. It will guard your heart from closing down. It will keep your mind from being absorbed with negativity, with self deprivation, self criticism, all of these things, because you'll understand that the quality of to err is human and to forgive is divine. And I know that we've all at this point, and I know many of you have been studying, so giving you that grace of saying, I know that you've heard all the things about it. It's not about them, it's about me. You know, all the quotes that I'm carrying in and expecting them to get sick. We know all of that. But I also feel like knowing it intellectually and practicing that there's sometimes a bit of a gap. And when you go deeper into self love, first it starts right here in your mind. You're thinking, I need to, like, what is this loving yourself? What does that mean? Does that mean eating right, exercising, praying? Does that mean a relationship? What does that mean? And when you start to get into the space of really experiencing it, is when your energy drops down into your heart. And one of the longest spiritual journeys, and Louise Hay said this once in one of her presentations I was at, and she said, the longest part of the spiritual journey is the journey from the head to the heart. To stop theorizing self love, to stop theorizing self care, to stop theorizing spirituality, and just begin to move from your heart. And the heart, if it's carrying unforgiveness, which could show up, and sometimes we think of forgiveness as just anger, but sometimes it's showing up as, right, sadness, fear, depression, anxiety. It can show up like anger. It can show up as irritation, blame, shame. There's a myriad of ways it shows up. Just because you're not running around being angry doesn't mean might not be carrying some of those other emotions inside. That I think of forgiveness is the things that we want are forgiving away. Forgiving away. We can experience a loss, but are we meant to hold on to the loss? Or forgive away the loss and hold on to the joy of when we did have it. Hold on to the experience of when we did have it. The Course in Miracles talks about forgiveness as teaching our spirit and our minds selective memory because it has it right now. If you're holding on to unforgiveness, your mind tends to just remember all the reasons to be angry. And the Course in Miracles says, what if we started to remember who we really are, who are these loving, forgiving beings, and start operating from that, and your mind will start remembering good things. What I realized when I studied that in the Course was that growing up with a lot of things that really were, if you were to say, right, unforgivable offenses, that my mind spent all the time playing the highlights of all of these old things. And when I started to heal and forgive, I suddenly began to remember the good things. Things like being with my grandmother, taking a walk with my grandpa, a little play at the park with my brother. So my mind began to selective memory of what the energy I wanted to focus on, which was love, peace, forgiveness. And so it was a great healer without even understanding how that was happening at the time. What I realize now in the studies is that because I was vibrating different thoughts, different desires, my mind began to operate in my favor to bring up memories aligned with that. Because I can guarantee, even though you guys, I know that not everybody, everything's always going hunky dory, that inside of even the past, that if you really allowed for forgiveness to come, maybe there's some things there that you could remember that are really good. I even find with healing, if we open up past lives, people expect to go to these terrible past lives. And I'm like, you can't have every past life couldn't have been terrible. That it was, there were places where you experienced joy in those lifetimes and you're meant to remember that. That you experience, if you want a loving relationship, then remember that you've had one before. And that's part of living more in a consciousness. And that's where the angels and Yeshua guide me to speak about the way of love. That the way of love is forgiveness. The way of love is peace. The way of love. And the ego doesn't always understand that identity and gets caught up in things. But the spirit of us really does want to live the way of love. If you weren't wanting to be more in a way of love, you wouldn't be on this kind of call, right? You wouldn't be thinking about those kind of things. So that tells you that there is a part of you that remembers the way of love and remembers that you didn't come here to be perfect. You came here to learn. You came here to connect. This is in understanding the way the universe is. This is the plane of existence that if you are here to teach and you are here to learn. And when you learn something, you're meant to share it. And when something's shared with you, you're meant to pass it along. So just by being alive in this physical body, part of your path might be learning how to forgive at deeper levels. And here is another. What you don't know how to facilitate for yourself, you will limit in being able to help someone else with. You want to become so forgiving of yourself. And that doesn't mean that you don't have awareness and a desire to improve where you see yourself falter. But it also says that holding myself and just being really hard on myself and regretting is going to keep me right there. So, what do I want to see from myself? What am I willing to forgive in myself? To forgive myself, and Louise has always says it, forgive for not being the person that you thought you should be. Forgive them for not being the person you thought they should be. Because in that moment, often there are divine forces inside of those disagreements that are bringing up things that can be healed through forgiveness and allow each of you to move on. And so, as we go in today, I'm going to lead us through a few practices on this, go into our meditation. And I want you to get out, if you haven't got a journal or piece of paper, have a journal or piece of paper there for you. Okay. And we'll have that there because I'm going to take us into a meditation. And the meditation is going to be having a conversation with ourselves. First, we're going to go into a higher energy. We're going to call in our angels, call in our higher selves. Take some time in that space to get quiet. And then I'll have that journal right by your side so that you can write what you need to write. And we'll do a cleansing because as you're starting the 21 days, we'll talk about that. But this to say, I want to make space within myself for something new. So I'm willing to let go and forgive away something that I don't need. Okay? So setting yourself up for meditation. If you want your cameras off, you can have them off or on. And just follow along with it. So we're going to take ourselves up into what in theta is called the seventh plane. So you'll just listen, imagine and visualize what I'm saying. And this is what it is to take us to a place where we're in a higher consciousness of unconditional love. So I want you to just take 3 deep breaths and lay your hand somewhere upon your physical body. So maybe over the heart. I like to lay one on the hand, on the heart, and one on the leg. So I connect to my full presence. And just start to deepen your breath. And I'll start with an invocation. So we call upon the beings of light, our higher selves, the angels that help us with forgiveness, the divine teacher Yeshua, who overlights us in that Christ consciousness, to be near us now, to help uplift our energy, to open our minds and hearts to the things that we're ready to forgive away, and to understand that it's much easier than we make it. So if you place all of your attention here and now, that in just a moment of connecting to unconditional love, that things can change. Now imagine a beautiful energy from under your feet. Sometimes it's a white with a gold streaming through it. And it begins to move up through your legs, both legs. It moves up into the base of your spine and takes a swirl there, waking up your Kundalini energy. And that energy begins to flow up through the center of your body, piercing each of the chakras, through the heart, the throat, through the center of the brain. And then gently take a deep breath in and exhale up toward the crown of the head with the intention of opening the crown chakra. See it open upward. There you go. And then in that opening, a light, a ball of light is there. You see it emerge, and your consciousness is in that light. So if you could see your higher self, and it began to move up through the sky, as if you were in a bubble of light and you could see down beneath you and you could see your home. And it kept going higher, and then you could see the whole continent that you're in. You'd start to see waters, and it went higher. And then you could see the earth. And then before you know it, you're moving into the stars. You could see the stars, you could see the moon and the energy of that eclipse coming in. And you kept going up through another layer of light. It keeps getting lighter, and you go through a golden light. You breathe that in as it moves you through that. And then there's this jelly-like substance. It sparkles with many different colors and rainbows. And you just see yourself begin to move through it. And there's a bright light just off in the distance. And you travel to that light. You see doors, and the doors open, and your energy goes inside of that light. And you just breathe there. Settle in for a moment. So in this cosmic classroom, I ask that unconditional love flow into each of your bodies as if dancing in your cells, opening up the cells. And as that's happening, notice anywhere within you right now that feels heavy, maybe is painful, maybe feels tense. So if you were scanning through yourself and noticing the areas that aren't light, maybe it's in the heart, maybe it's in a shoulder, maybe it's in the abdomen, the back, the legs. As if that were a place that you were carrying a lower vibration. And you are willing to release that difficulty, pain, stress. You're willing to forgive it away as you receive forgiveness. Think of these as I speak these as downloads, and you'd say, yeah, teach me how to do that. So forgiveness is a great exchange rate energetically. You give a little bit of forgiveness, you give a little bit away, and you receive triple fold, if not more. So there's a great incentive to forgive. Now, in that white light, if you begin to imagine and visualize a little path, as if you turned around and there was a path there. Notice the path, notice what it's made of as you step on it. Notice the scenery around it. That this was a sacred path just for you. And you began to walk down that path. No rush, enjoying the walk. If you already know where you're going and who you're going to connect with, there's no worries. You're looking forward to that connection. And the path comes around a bend, and you see there is an open space. So if you set yourself up a sacred little space there, and you'd go over to it and you'd have a seat. And there's your journal. You just breathe for a moment. And if you came here today to have a conversation with yourself, that maybe you've noticed you've been a little bit hard on yourself lately, pushing yourself, judging, blaming, shaming, carrying guilt or fears. And that's just the part that may be carrying some wounds. So up along that path coming towards you is that part of you. As if you just tuned in and saw that part of you, maybe the egoic part, the inner child who might need to release things, the stubborn part of you, the angry part of you, the hurting, sad. And you invited it to sit down with you. There's a seat there. And even there, as that part sits down, your angels surround the two of you, as if creating a field of love with their wings. And they'll hold you in that space. And over the two of you, Yeshua's energy, the divine teacher of forgiveness. And that white light of his overlighting this conversation. So not only will you be letting go, but they'll be helping you to do that at more expansive levels. I want you to contemplate the conversation that you're having with this part of you. And contemplate what you're ready to forgive. Which means let go of. And in its space, you'll just welcome love to take its place. So as you're ready, you'll take your journal and you'll write on your journal your name and then I forgive you for. I'm just going to give you a few minutes to write down whatever's coming up for you. Think about that part of you that maybe notice the version of you that came. It might be connected to something specific, this period of time, something that occurred during that time. So just let yourself write. When you're finished with writing that, at the bottom, I want you to write, I forgive you and I set you free. And then sign it to yourself as if that's your commitment, is that when you truly forgive for this, that you are free from this experience. You've learned what you're going to learn, that you're not going to hold yourself at guilt or shame or blame for any of this, because this is the undercurrent of the next 21 days when you're focused on love, is because you've created space with this. So this will be a paper that you will do as, and I sent out this morning, like a burn ritual. So somewhere today, as the full moon, is to take this outside and to burn it, to really let it go, and place it in the ground. That's you're done with that. So when you're ready, you got your piece of paper, and then you're inside of your own mind as I forgive this, I forgive you, and I set you free. I forgive you, and I set you free. I forgive you, and I set you free. Forgiveness is a powerful virtue. As you're finishing, I'm just going to read a little bit about forgiveness from the book of Virtues of Divinity, my book. Forgiveness is choosing to live and walk in the world in a stance of nonviolence. It is the end to perpetual cycles of harm. Do not let the past be your biography, your entire story. You change your story through forgiveness. You become free. To err is human, to forgive is truly divine. This is one of the greatest truths shared by the great master Yeshua. Forgive again and again in order to live free and live virtuously. Develop on the spot forgiveness. Forgive away the daily impatience, frustrations, and irritations, and you'll live more fully in your light. Learn to forgive the small things so you can really learn to forgive the big things. There is no love without forgiveness, and there is no forgiveness without love. True forgiveness is when you can say, thank you for the experience. I release it and release myself. Okay? So you're going to take this and burn this tonight. This is a powerful night. You've got the eclipse energy. And this is so that as you're going through this 21 days, instead of focusing on shadow, you're going to be focusing on bringing in more and more light through the practice of self-love. So this might be something that you do again. If something else comes up, you could do this for someone else. It's that taking to higher consciousness. Okay, so let's take a breath and do your own form of an energy sweep or cleanse. So you can do, as I taught you in Reiki, a little just clearing. If you want to do a little zip and a theta, you can do a little bit of both. And think, I'm going to clear that out.